All right, so for this one here, what we're going to do is we're going to spend a lot more time on the schedule page and start giving you all the ins and outs and the different things that you can do. So we're going to launch the program from the link that we had stored on our computer screen before. And you'll notice that it signs me right in right away because my computer remembers my password. But in case it doesn't, just a reminder, you are a staff member. We're going to click on staff and put your email and your password in. And again, my computer remembers those things. So I'm going to press sign in. And let's go to the schedule page. All right, so now that we're here on the schedule page, let's do this. I'm going to delete this. When I grab this job and I put it on the calendar saying, hey, do you want to put it on for today? If I need to change that, of course, I can press the start day, and then I can either put it on for a range or an individual day. Personally, I like to do it per day, especially if you're dealing with people that need to move quite a bit, or maybe I have the crew on the job for tomorrow, the next day, and the next day, but then all of a sudden we get rain and stuff has to change and delete and whatever. I like putting it on per day, and there's another reason for that too, is because if I schedule people to an individual job per day, and I have equipment on that job or something like that, I can also use my filters right here and look for times that people were on the job. Instead of just seeing that they're on the job for like the week, I can see individual days that they were on for. And we'll go into much greater detail on that in a little while. So I've put it on the schedule for one day, and you notice that it disappeared from right here because this little button is on. It says not scheduled here. That means the job is scheduled in this view, so it takes it off of this list. If you want to see all the jobs that are available to be scheduled, just press all. And now I have this Haw River back up here. Now, these jobs act as a bucket. I can reschedule this job if I want to. I can schedule it out. Let's say that I wanted the 27th to 29th and maybe the 1st that we're going to go to this job. I can come back up here and I can grab that time. I can say, okay, I want to go on the let's say the 20, let's call it 29th, and then press save. And then maybe I want to go back there on 10/1. So what we're going to do here is we can put it on 10/1 and press save. You could do it like that, but right, you don't want to have to keep creating it, okay? So there's another thing that you can do, and it's called duplicate. So let's do this. I'm going to delete this event, okay? And I am going to put a crew on it. Let's just say it's Greg's crew. All right, we have Greg's crew on the 27th. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an event note. Okay, so I've told the guys, hey, you're going to have to be on site for 8 a.m., 10,000 square feet of concrete broom finish, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to notify anybody yet. I'm not going to send out any text. I'm just going to save it for right now. And what that means is if I take this, see this is saved now that I have the crew on it and everything. And if I hover over it, I also see my first line of the text that I'm going to send out. So be on site for 8 a.m. Okay, so whatever you put as your first line is going to show up in this event note, okay? Now, what I've done is I put the crew on it, and I've created my event note. But what if I'm going to send that same crew the 29th and maybe the 1st to that same job? And we're going to change things up a little bit. Maybe concrete's not at 8 a.m., it's 6 a.m. or 5 a.m. or whatever. One really cool feature here is I can click on this, and then I can duplicate this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate it for, let's see, I want them on the job on the 30th. And then I want them also on the 1st. And then, see, that gets me in October. I can pick days in October if I want to. What I'm doing here is I'm exactly duplicating what I had before. Now, this text hasn't gone out. Here's what's cool about this is now I'm going to modify this just a little bit. Instead of being on site for 8, I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to be, this time we're going to be on site for 10 a.m. Okay. So I've modified this one. This one says be on site for 10 a.m. Now this one here, it's Greg's crew's not going. It's going to be somebody else that's going to go onto this job. So I'm going to send, let's say I'm going to send Bill Smith onto this job. And then Bill Smith also has to go over to this job. All right. So what you can do is you can modify it once you've duplicated it. So another cool feature that you can do is you can also put the same exact job on for the same exact day. And let me show you why. So I have this on for the 27th. I have 8 a.m. I have Greg's crew going out to the Haw River. Okay. I have Greg's crew going out to the Haw River refinery. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to put that same exact job on for the 27th, and I'm going to press save. So what I've done here is I have a whole other one here, and maybe I'm going to take Bill Smith or Frank Smith. Let's just put Frank and Bill out on that job. And you'll notice here that in this view, I see the little calendar icon that shows up. So if I put it in day mode, I see that Bill and Frank are now scheduled, as well as the whole crew here, Greg's crew. So I've put them on. I have Greg's crew being on site for 8 a.m., but maybe I want these guys going out at a different time. Okay, I want these guys out on site doing site prep for 6 a.m., getting ready for concrete. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to press save. Haven't notified anybody yet. No one's received a text. So what I've done here is I have some people going out on the site for 6, and then I have some people going out for 8 a.m. to the same exact job, except these people, when they look at their schedule, they're going to see this event note, and these people, if they're using the app, they're going to get this. They're going to see that they need to be out on site for 8 a.m. And again, if they're not using the app and you're just sending out a text, these guys are going to get this one that says be on site for 6, and these guys are going to get this one saying be out on site for 8. Once you've got this all set up and you want to send out a text, you just go into each event note and you can notify the employees. Let's delete all these events. Let me show you a different way that some people like to schedule. And that is in a full length of time. So if you have projects that the guys are camped out on it for long periods of time, and you know you're probably not going to move much or change anything, here's what you can do. You have Farley's Warehouse. Let's put them on for a length of time. All right, so I have this job set up. I'm going to put Greg's crew on there. They're going to be there for a while. I'm just going to let it go. All right, and for the event note, I'm going to say be here all week. All right, and when they get the text, it's going to say Farley's Warehouse. It's going to have this date range, obviously this address, and they know to be there all week. And if I want to, of course, I can notify the employees and send out the text. Now, if something changes on the 29th or the 30th or the 1st or whatever, these guys, when they look at their schedule, they're just going to see that they're on the schedule for this full length of time. Okay, and of course they saw that in the text as well. But if for some reason it's the 30th and I need to say something to the guys, I can certainly come in here and I can change this. I don't know. All right, and then I can save and notify. Okay, so the nice part is I can still change the event note as the week goes. And also too, as another side note, is every time I send out a text through the system, if I come here, I can see that text, it's documented in the message board. I'll get into the message board stuff here in a little while, but just so you know, let's go back to the schedule. So a lot of people will do it this way, and as need be, people just know that they're going to be on this job from the 27th to the 2nd. Now I want to spend a little bit more time talking about the crews and dragging people over to jobs. So again, I'm going to put this job on the schedule, and we're going to just put it on for this length of time so you can see. All right, so I have this job, Haw River Refinery, from here to here. Okay, so we have Greg's crew, all right? I can take that entire crew and put them over there. And let's say I have Farley's Warehouse that's going on the 27th as well. All right, so I have members of Greg's crew that I want to put over here in the afternoon. So let's say that this Haw River Refinery, we have concrete at 8 a.m. These guys are all going to dump out, but then I'm going to have some guys shoot over to Farley's Warehouse in the afternoon. Well, it's really easy to do that, and I'm not even taking them off the crew. I'm just telling them that, you know what, Greg Hart, you have to go over here in the afternoon. It's going to send me a warning saying, hey, he's already scheduled for a job today. Are you still good with that? And I'm going to say, yep. And I'm going to continue. Okay. And what I have here is when Greg Hart looks at his schedule, again, if he's using the app, he sees that he has to go to Haw River and this, okay, as well as Farley's. Now, if you send out the text, again, he's going to get this Haw River text, and he's also going to get this Farley's Warehouse text. All right. But nobody else on Greg's crew is going to see this. All right. So you can definitely do that. Now, this brings in something else. Notice the icons here. When I close this up, in this view, in this view, I see that Greg's crew is scheduled. Okay, the entire crew is scheduled. Then when I press the down arrow, I see that individuals from this crew in this view is scheduled. Okay, so Tammy doesn't have a calendar icon next to her, but you see that the entire crew is scheduled, so therefore Tammy is scheduled on the 27th. Now, if I look at the 26th, all that stuff goes away because this view, we're looking again for the view. If in the view, they are scheduled. So if I put it in month, these are going to show back up. Why? Because they're scheduled in this view. All right. So what I've done is I've split out the crew, and I have Greg doing something later. And here's another use case for crews, okay? So don't necessarily think of crews as crews. Here's another thing that people use this for, and let's show you it like this. Okay, what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna edit this crew name. I'm not gonna name it Greg's crew. What I'm gonna do is I am going to name this crew laborers. Click save. So obviously you can edit the colors and the names of the crews, and then I'm going to add another crew. All right, let's just keep them orange. All right, so I have a crew of laborers and foremen, and let's put Johnny Franks in there, and then Frank Smith. Okay. So here's what some people will do is they'll actually use people and paint them. Okay, and it's not so much about what crew they're on. A lot of times people say, well, you know what, I need a certain kind of trade on this job, or I need a certain kind of individual on this job, and I need to make sure that, you know, I have a certain other kind of individual on the job. So let's put this in day view just so you can see it a little better. And we're gonna go and, you know what, we need a foreman on the job. I'm gonna put Johnny Franks on the job. We'll put Frank Smith on this job. Okay, now they each need a laborer. So I'm going to put Tammy with Johnny and Greg with Frank. So what they're doing is they're using the crews just to create painted colors of people. So you know just by looking at this, instead of it being a crew per se, it's more of a role. And I can tell just by the colors that I have a foreman and a laborer on these projects. So you see how this can be really flexible. Of course, once inside the crew folders, you can also do, you know, A to Z sorting. You know, you can alphabetical. You can also take and sort by color. Okay, so this is alphabetically by color. You have green and orange. So orange starting with an O, green starting with a G is below that. So if I want the G up top, I can sort it that way as well. And then I can also sort it by crew name alphabetically. Obviously, F comes before L. And then if I flip it this way, L becomes before F. So you have that. So now we've done some kind of cool stuff, but let's do something else. I want to add some equipment. We have a very basic feature in here for adding equipment. And equipment, you can't put any man hours to, you can't do anything with it other than just put a couple notes to it and say it's a piece of equipment. We have future plans of building this out a little bit more, so we have an entire equipment module where you can show maintenance and stuff to it. But right now, it's just a really simple thing, so you can kind of track who's got what equipment. So I'm going to add a piece of equipment. I'm going to name it, I don't know, a dozer. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on a crew. Let's put it on the laborers crew. Okay, and of course you don't have to. You can create your own folder that says equipment. Okay, and so what I've done is I've put a dozer on that crew, and again, if I press this here and I edit it, I can, of course, I can change the name, I can do everything else. And then if I want to put a description on it or a serial number or something like that, there is a note section here. I don't know, manual, blah, 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 I don't know, serial number, doesn't matter. Whatever you want to use it as a quick identifier for that piece of equipment, all right? So I have that saved, and then I have a dozer. Now, what's cool about this is if I take this dozer, right, of course it's on a crew, but if I wanted to and I said, okay, I'm going to put this on Farley's warehouse. Now, if I look at this in week mode, of course I have a piece of equipment on that crew, and if I'm on that crew and I'm using the app, when I open up that Farley's warehouse, which we'll show you here in a while, I would have a piece of equipment on that job with me, and I can see that I have that piece of equipment. So what's cool about this is if I use the filters and I want to figure out, hey, when was the last time we had that a piece of equipment on a job? Because maybe people left it out there, okay? So I can press this little down arrow here and say, okay, I want to show only the jobs that have a dozer on them. So I have this filter, I can tell I have a filter going, and it's like, whoa, wait, okay, I see it right here. Now where this becomes really powerful is I can put this in year, and then I would see all these little dots on here for all the jobs that that dozer was on. And then I'm like, okay, so this is the most recent one. It's at Farley's warehouse, so maybe we should send somebody out there to go pick it up. So it's really cool, and this is another reason why I like doing stuff per day, because a lot of times I can see individual days that stuff is scheduled to. And of course, again, if your normal thing is to have people camped out on a job for, a week straight, no matter what, weather doesn't change things, then by all means schedule things in longer periods of time. But that's a cool feature right there, and I really like it, and a lot of people are starting to use it more and more when they start to understand, like, wait a second here, I had this piece of equipment was out here on such and such date. Reset the filter. Again, these filters apply to everything. If I only want to see blue jobs, if I only want to see, which users, a specific user, and when they're on the schedule, you have all these capabilities of filtering this view. All right. Okay, and then just the simple stuff. Again, I'm going to cover this one more time. The jobs, the reason why I don't see any jobs up here is because these jobs are scheduled in this view. So if I take and press all, those jobs are back available. Now another thing about this is if I go and I take and make a job inactive, okay, let's go over here. I'll go to my jobs list, and let's say that Haw River is finished. I can make it inactive, and I can go to my schedule page. And you notice that it takes that job off the schedule. Of course, you wouldn't do that when you have active employees that are actually on that job. But then all of a sudden, like, oh, wait, we're not done with that job. I can come back here and I can take and go back to my jobs, and then I can turn it back on. And when I do turn it back on, come back here, you'll notice that it's back on the schedule, and then it shows all throughout the calendar. I didn't talk about this, the search. If I want to search for a specific employee, I just click here and I say, okay, where's Greg? And then when I do that and press the down arrow, I see that Greg Hart's on this crew. Okay, so you can do that stuff too. All right. I think that about sums it up. The only other thing I didn't talk about was this export function right here. And really what the export function is it just quickly gives you a PDF of what the current schedule is. And again, it is based on the view, right? So if I'm showing this week and I want to export that PDF, I can grab that, open that up, and we see we have the Haw River job, and then I have Johnny Franks and Tammy Fields. All right, and then we also see this here. It says no response. Now, let me show you what that means. This is the next step in all this stuff. I've talked about the schedule page. I've talked about all the little buttons here. Here's something that is going to introduce the app to us now, okay? What we're going to do is we are going to turn on a feature. And again, because I'm the super administrator, I can do this. I'm going to come up here. I'm going to go to settings. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a couple of different things here. The first thing is I'm going to go to global settings, and then I'm going to turn this feature on. Users can only see the jobs that they are assigned to. Okay, so up until now, you've been sending out the text to people. They've been getting text. They can't see other jobs that other people are on. It's just a one-way communication out to the field, and they've gotten text. If they start using the app and they pin into it, they can easily see, okay, what jobs they're assigned to, all right? And by flipping this on, you can only see the jobs that they specifically are assigned to. So you have that capability. Also, I can allow employees to respond whether or not they will go to job events, all right? So we're gonna turn this on as well. And what that means is when they get a text, there'll be a little link in the bottom of that text, and they can press on that link, and it'll open up a place where they can say, yes, I'll be there, or no, I won't. And you'll be able to see that from the schedule, and also your foreman, whoever uses the app, can also see which people have said, I'll be there or not. Okay, so this is a really cool feature, and it's a good way to make sure that everybody knows who's coming and who's not. If I saw that people didn't respond to it and I was the foreman on that crew, maybe I might give those guys a call the night before and say, hey, you gonna be there tomorrow? What's up? All right, so you have that capability. So we just turn those both on. All right, and let's go back to the schedule page. So we've done that. And also something else is different here, right? So now I have this text that I'm going to send out, right? And I have Johnny Franks, Tamia Fields. Let's do this. I'm going to send out a text, all right? And what we're going to do is we're going to save and notify. Something just changed. Now I know that I sent out the text because the circle's there, and now I'm waiting for them to respond because they're going to use the app, all right? So now let's do this. Let's take that employee and let's get them to get that app, all right? So the real easy thing to do is, how do I get Johnny Franks and Tammy Fields to get this app? Well, I come here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to employees and staff. I'll click on all, and then I have Greg Hart and Tammy Fields. So what I'm going to do is just simply take this. I'm going to text this, send this login link to the employee. Okay. So Greg Hart now has a message sent to him. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up my phone and I'm going to share it on this screen so that you can see what it looks like on my phone.